What is going on, everyone? I am here with the singer for Cryptopsy, Matt McGachy. Greetings.
Great to be here with the vegan black metal chef. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff that I've probably never spoken about before really publicly, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so I've been told that you're vegan. Is that correct?
I am a vegan, but I don't showcase it. I don't necessarily talk about it too much. It's not because I'm not proud of it. It's just not something that it ever came up. I mentioned it a little bit on my podcast, Vox and Hops, while I was doing that. Maybe if I had a few episodes with some vegan peeps and it would come up, but it was, I always focus more on the craft beer and the cryptopsy and the metal.
Sure. No, absolutely. Now, as a vegan touring musician, are we far beyond the question now? Is it hard to be vegan on the road?
Oh, no, you still get it. Everyone still asks that question. It's like always this like topic of, oh, it must be so hard for you. And it's not, it's easier, right? I've been vegan since 2017. I remember the moment I became vegan, it was like a health choice thing. We had just had our daughter. And I was watching a bunch of like nutrition documentaries on some streaming platform that we won't mention because it's not worth it. And I was in like Europe doing a first leg of a tour, and I was vegetarian at that point. And then I came back like a month later and I was vegan because I had sent my wife this documentary that I watched on that first leg of the tour. And she was like, that's it. This is it. This is the, we had been leaning towards it for a while. And that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And it's always just easier in a household just to cook one way. So it's been that way since then. So it has been easier since the beginning of my touring. And again, then us as individuals, we get more used to what we need to do to prepare ourselves in situations where you know that you might have less options. So you prep and you shop and you Google to try to find vegan options. So like touring the United States, touring Canada is super easy.
Yeah. Is there any country that you would describe as slightly harder? Or are
there has been experiences, yeah. No, there's places that have been more difficult because they're just culturally more rigid towards their strict menu. So like Japan as an example, has been probably the most difficult was in Japan just because they're so rigid towards their menu. I'm like, you have tofu, you have rice, I see it on the menu, you have vegetables, just mix them together and don't tell me what's in the sauce because I gotta survive. And they don't understand. And like, I'm not no disrespect to any Japanese people, it's just my experience is that they seem very confused by those requests, and I end up eating French fries and other things like that. We were in Mexico for about a week, and I was happy to no longer be in Mexico. Even though the fact that they have all these plant-based things there available, they tend to cook them culturally with animal fats or animal meats I'm the type of vegan that I won't die if I eat it, but I'm not going to eat it on purpose. So I play dumb to the
Fair
most
enough.
extent when it comes to sauces and stuff like that. But I don't cheat. I don't go out. I'm not that type of vegan that late at night is eating a burger or eating like a slice of pizza or something when no one's looking. I don't do that.
Gotcha. And I mean now. Okay. And do you think if in Japan or Mexico, do you think just more preparation or more something would allow to overcome that even like sauce barrier or?
There's a situation like my drummer is endorsed by Pearl. So Pearl has like an office in Tokyo and always invites the band out for sushi. So that night, I was like, you guys just go. I'm going to Google and find a vegan restaurant and eat to my heart's content, and I'll be happy. Because there are vegan restaurants. It's just more so like you finish a show, the band goes out to eat something because you're hungry, and then you're stuck with this limited amount of options.
Gotcha.
So there's definitely options everywhere. And in Mexico as well. I would Uber. It did get to the point where I was in Latin America, and we would go out to dinner, and I would just like Google a vegan restaurant and send it to the TM and be like, this is what I want to eat after the show. Which probably
Gotcha.
ended up costing him a bit more money. But thank you, Victor and Shimuko Productions, for making me feel full and happy and not just full of potatoes.
No, that makes sense. Uh, so on the road, is Cryptopsy a party band, or are you more reserved, or has that
We're pretty
changed?
old. We're getting older. There's like an ebb and flow that happens on a tour, and it's about to happen because we're heading out on tour in like a week. I'll be on the airplane right now, actually, in a week,
Mm,
and there's this excitement as always when you're in a band as intensely active as Cryptopsy is at this moment. We don't see each other at home that much unless we're practicing.
mhm.
So there's this excitement of being together again. There's this excitement of being with our crew again. You're with a new band that you're sharing a vehicle with hypothetically, and there's this like beginning of a school year, beginning of a camp thing that happens. So the first week tends to be a little bit more intense than the last week.
Sure.
But I am so into the craft beer movement, and I'm love craft beer very much. So I do enjoy a beer or two after the show. I do need to take it easy on tour because vocally I need to rest a lot and sleep is important. And even though we are in a tour bus and we have our bunks, it's never like a solid 8 hour sleep. There's a lot of
Mm.
moving happening and noises. So it's like a half sleep. So you got to get all the hours that you can get and then piece them together afterwards. So we do party because that's just always been in Cryptopsy's DNA. But we are becoming a little bit more mature in it, I would say. Most
It's
nights.
not as much blackout, more enjoying the
No,
craft
we don't
beer.
want, it's very, very bad and rare that I do a blackout moment. And then when I do, most people say that I was really nice and funny.
And I was going to
I'm
actually ask you
looking at
about
you,
a.
Applebee's. Applebee's in Oregon. I think it was in Oregon with Oregonectomy. The last one with Carnifex. I'm looking at you, Applebee's.
They had to pull you out of an Applebee's.
That they did walk me out nicely.
So, speaking of vocally, how do you take care of your vocals on the road? Because wow, day in and
It's
day out.
evolved. It's evolved so much over the years. I was very, very stressed. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of my history of the tenure of me and Cryptopsy, but I joined the band and everyone hated me.
Mm.
So it's been this uphill battle, redeeming myself for the Cryptopsy fan base.
That was in '07, is that correct?
Correct. The Unspoken King came out and it was extremely divisive. It still is divisive. We don't like it. So,
Are you saying the fans hated you, or the band hated you, or both?
oh no, the band was 100% behind me. The fans hated me. Luckily, the band stood behind me, and I had time to mature into a death metal vocalist that deserves to be fronting Cryptopsy. In my opinion, this is my words, not anything. These are my words. So at first, I was extremely stressed and worried about my voice. I was in a metalcore band before. Killswitch Engage, In Flames, At the Gates, Worship, with the clean choruses. So I was very about my voice, worried about my voice. Joined Cryptopsy, far more extreme, doing all these gutturals for the first time. I was worried that I would lose my voice constantly, so I would do anything and everything to take care of my voice on tour. I would drink teas, honey, with honey, and honey and teas, the throat lozenges, the warm-ups, the zen of screaming was a big part of my routine back in the day. And then we've been touring so much recently that I just do nothing. Which is
Okay.
It's the complete opposite. I'm always a little bit stressed about my voice before a tour starts or anything, but it's always great. And I had this amazing experience because my friend Enrico, who's the vocalist of Hideous Divinity, is an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And he lives in Italy, in Rome. And he picked me up at the venue when I was touring in Europe with Atheist. We were about halfway through the tour, and maybe even a little bit more. No days off, just every night playing. Enrico picks me up, brings me to his clinic, and puts the camera down my throat, up my nose, down my throat to observe my vocal cords. And I performed a song, Cryptopsy song, Lascivious Undivine. And he was like, it's perfect. There's no damage. He's like, I can tell you snore sometimes, but vocally, there's nothing going on there. And it was just this relief, this release of stress and worrying that the voice, as I used to call it, the voice works. I always text my wife. And it's just gone. I'm not stressed anymore. I used to do the Zen of screaming like all the time. And if you're not familiar with that, it ends like Melissa Cross is amazing, obviously. It ends with this.
This is a vocal program for everyone that doesn't is not familiar.
Yeah. She probably started and coined the marketing of teaching extreme vocals to people in the early 2000s. I'm very lucky that my parents bought me her DVD for Christmas, I think, in 2004, maybe a little earlier, I can't remember. And I did it religiously for 15 years, and I just don't need to do it anymore. And it ends with like this really loud thing where you go, he, hey, like really very loud thing that I would get yelled at if I did it like behind the venue. People walking in the streets would always yell at me. And it's so like recognizable and like associated to me that whenever Terrence Hobbs sees me from Suffocation, he does that. He goes, hey, because he toured Latin America with me and was subjected to that backstage every night. So I just do nothing and I relax. And I think that a lot of vocal issues comes from stress and contracting your muscles a bit too much, and because it's such a mental thing doing extreme vocals or doing vocals in any, there's a lot of physiological stuff that's happening that you have to really just be zen about.
And so you think it's also just not pushing too hard, or
Exactly.
like you perfectly calibrated that amount of air
pressure.
Pushing.
Exactly. And then just making it look like it's hard. That's the fun part.
Does your voice hurt at the end of the night?
No, never. No. The most detrimental things to my voice from experience on tour are going to a bar after a show and speaking loudly. Like we went to Duff's. I think it's in Brooklyn or in New York anyways. We went to Duff's after a show 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And then the next day I was like, I felt it. That and then there's other moments where like I've known that I've snored on the tour bus if I'm sleeping in a weird position because I probably was at Applebee's, and then I can feel my soft palate is sore. Those are more detrimental than performing extreme Cryptopsy vocals.
You can stop yourself from snoring. That's incredibly impressive. If
I have to, yeah.
Wow. So I mean, just by sleeping position, or
I probably still do snore. It's just I don't feel it.
Oh, gotcha. I'm like,
I lie on my back.
I'm like, we've got the cure for snoring like right really here.
Loud, like probably, and I do it all night because I've been at Applebee's. Or
I buzzsaw snore. So yeah. No,
my wife is I get the elbow every once in a while.
And so the latest album, An Insatiable Violence, correct? Like,
correct, yeah.
Wow, it's the production quality on that is mind blowing in my opinion. Like that is like these are your new references to check modern nice. Mixes against.
Thank you. Yeah, Chris will be happy that you said that. It was not a struggle in the band. It's not a struggle. We appreciate modern death metal production. Chris is an audio engineer and he mixes a bunch of bands like Suffocation, Shadow of Intent, or a bunch of bands. It was ingested a whole bunch of stuff over the years. Despised Icon, the new one coming out is Chris. So we like this crisp mix where every instrument has its place and everyone has its opportunity to shine. That being said, the production is nice that you're saying, because it's a very divisive thing with the Cryptopsy fan base. A lot of old school fans miss the rawness of the first two albums, production wise, aside from songwriting. It's this like internal battle that we have to do is like, do we cater to the old school fans and go a bit grimier on the next mix, or do we just lean into what we're doing and just be happy what we want to hear? And that's is a balance about being in a legacy band, which I can say because I wasn't on None So Violent. It's one of the most important death metal records
Hmm.
in the genre, in my opinion, and top 10 easily. I can say that because I'm not on it. So it's this balance that we always have to play of honoring the legacy while remaining relevant, doing what we want to do while still being true to what the fans want. We are really happy about it. There was minimal album notes that went back and forth. Normally, album notes come from Flo, and you would think that it's about his drumming. Some of it is, but a lot of the times he was like, the vocals need to be louder. Your guitar is not crunchy enough. And I think we had six or seven versions of the mix, and it was quick and simple, honestly. Chris is
Wow.
genius.
Like, and so do you all consider yourselves pretty hands-on on that, on the mixing and production side, or
It's just Chris.
kind of
Chris,
hands-off?
it's his job. It's Chris's job, and once I do my vocals, it's not my area of expertise. So I was happy that they put my vocals up a bit, but that's just for my ego. But I'm very not involved in that. Ollie might have little things maybe about his bass, maybe, but most of it happens in the room when we're tracking. It's just we're so tightly knit and involved, and Chris has his fingers in everything all the time because he tracks us. He writes a lot of it. He produces it. He mixes it. So it's really like a huge Chris baby that everyone gets to finally see once it comes out it gets released. And Flo obviously is super involved in because he's the OG and always has a say in everything, obviously too.
Yeah, and well, if you're listening to this now, the YouTube version does sound good, but for any of you watching, you know that YouTube kind of nerfs the sound of anything, and
it's
it
like
does
a compression thing, yeah.
Yeah, which is impressive for the album on YouTube because it sounds good. It sounds really good. But listen to this on a streaming platform or buy the album and listen to it in its raw, unadulterated form. And
that's cool. It's good. I'm happy that the bass has so much space. There's like moments where he really gets to shine because he's such a fantastic player, as everyone is. Well, the musicians in the band are, and the musicians that have been in Cryptopsy over the years. And there's like mixes in the past where you're like, the player puts so much love into this little section and then it gets lost in a mix, and I think that's sad. So we really accentuated certain bass elements, certain drum elements, certain guitar things, and I think that's important when you're mixing in a modern extreme death metal band.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And but the sheer brutality of it, and which I think that sort of modern production brutality, that's what you really get with that modern production is I mean the old school stuff is good and brutal in its own right, but you don't get the like ear onslaught that
well, thank you. No, we're happy that. But it's this internal struggle that I'm sure we're going to be together a lot over the next few months. We're probably going to discuss where we're headed with this, and then Chris will probably just do whatever he wants at the end of the day.
Yeah, fair enough. So is everyone in the band from Canada or
yeah, Flo was born in France, grew up a bit in the States, and then ended up here in Canada. But we're all from Montreal, Quebec, mostly. The outskirts, as we've gotten older, some people have moved a little bit farther outside the city. I grew up in a smaller Anglophone town just outside of Montreal, where there's still a little Anglophone community. I went to French elementary school, so I can speak perfect French, and my kids are perfectly bilingual. The rest of the band speaks primarily French. So when we tour together and we're together, we tend to speak a lot of franglais, which is like French and English slang back and forth. So it's interesting for like touring parties when we're around each other. They're like, what are you guys? What are you guys saying? Which is fun. And then we have to watch ourselves because we have like our secret language in certain areas of the world. And then we hit spots where like, oh yeah, they can speak French, or we got to watch what we're saying.
Is Montreal still a sort of vegan paradise? It's been a while since I've been there.
Awesome. Honestly, there's so many amazing places to go and eat. whenever I do like an event with my wife or something, I'm always excited to like Google if there's a new one, which there hasn't been, but there's still a lot of great like vegan sushi places, and there's an awesome vegan ramen place. I've discovered a more fancy sit down type of breakfast. No, they do breakfast, but I was jumping ahead. Like it's a fancy supper place, but they don't change their menu enough, which is a bit irritating because if you go like every 6 months and it's sort of the same food, it's a bit disappointing. That's called Tendres. It's on St. Catherine Street near Beaudry Metro, right next to Beaudry Metro. That's a really nice place. And they do killer brunch, I've heard, but I've never been. And that's, when you're vegan, there's certain like brunch elements that are hard to get. I'm the type of vegan that I like to cook, and I hate to go to a restaurant and be like, I could have made this. I like to go to eat vegan food that's outside of my comfort zone of
Yes.
cooking. So like sushi. Not that I couldn't make it, but you got to get all these like little ingredients.
It's a pain. It takes a while. I feel like even myself, I don't even bother rolling it anymore. I just throw all the ingredients in a bowl, grab the seaweed, and just kind of scoop it up.
That's an even better idea. Yeah. But like, like to go to like, there's a great like fast food-esque vegan place called Maynard's, where they make like killer vegan poutines, burgers, and mac and cheese. It's like, I got all those at home. Like I can do those. For me to go there, it's just because it's like a quick, non-planned event. But any like planned me going out to eat something is probably gonna be like something more fancy, something like sushi or like a ramen spot. Umami Ramen makes a killer, awesome, interesting Asian styled vegan food, which is super fun.
There
I'm
used
really
to be a
into the whole
place.
shiitake. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, sorry.
The shiitake like shawarma thing. That's great. There's a great place near the market near my house, which keeps changing names. I don't know why. It's a bit sketchy, but anyways, it's called Sham. That's what I call it. That's what everyone knows calls it Sham, which is funny.
Shiitake shawarma. So instead of a lamb or even a meat substitute, they use shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, and it's all marinated, and there's like different flavors. They like General Tao flavor. There's the shawarma flavor. There's the kebab, but the other one I can't remember. Flavor. There's like a bunch of them. Teriyaki flavor. It's all from shiitake. That's great. What were you going to say that you remember?
Oh yeah, there used to be a place called Yuan Vegetarian. Speaking of the sushi,
oh, it's still there. No, it's still
is
there.
It still there?
They changed names, and my kids love that place because it's all you can eat buffet. I can't remember what it's called now. Au Plant is what it's called now. It's right.
I still dream of that place.
It's really very, very good. My kids love to go there because there's this little robot that brings the food from the kitchen to the dining room, and it's a little cat robot, and they can like pet it, and so we call it the cat robot place, and we go about once a year, and it makes the kids really happy. They like literally just live like off of like the dumplings and peanut sauce, which I can make at home, but it makes them happy, and we do it like, and it's like a special occasion. We always end up at Au Plant. There's like the classic OGs that still exist here. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head.
Aviv?
Yes, that was where I was going, yeah. I don't go there very often because it's like basically just like sandwiches and stuff, but it's still like...
Very good sandwiches. Very good sandwiches.
And they have their sandwiches being distributed into supermarkets now, which is nice if you're in a pinch to grab like a veggie pate and their dragon sauce. When you're out like at a park having a picnic, we're lucky in Montreal. There's stuff at every corner. There's this guy, Christian Ventura, that's opened a bunch of vegan spots, like Momo, I think is one of his, which is a sushi place. There's Bloom, which is another sushi place of his. And there's it's more of a fast food place. I can't remember what it's called, in the Old Port, which is also ran by Christian Ventura. I'm not sure who he is, but he must be like someone that knows that we're going to buy. Send him money because we want those vegan options.
And
what we're missing, there's actually a really good pizzeria called Zach's Pizzeria, and it's really small, the place, and the guy that runs it, I think it must be him, Zach. Awesome, and like mushrooms and decent vegan cheese that I think he makes in house. Really, really very good. Probably the best
Wow.
vegan pizza I've had in a long time. Because I'm sure, as you know, the one thing that we have not succeeded at as of yet is making great vegan cheese, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like a lot of the vegan cheese or some of the vegan cheese options that exist, but I I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of
It
them
was
I
like the
think are
last
great,
thing that I kicked,
but
and it's
yeah.
probably the last thing that I miss. I was never big into meat. I have these memories of
Hmm.
like, I get maybe my mom was just not good at making steak, but I remember being a kid and like chewing steak and just like hiding it like a chipmunk in my cheek, like just because I just really didn't. So I've never really been very into meat. So I never miss the meat, and the meat substitutes work. They work so well that I don't
Hmm.
even want them sometimes. Like the whole Beyond thing, I don't like
Hmm.
how the
It's
fattiness of it.
it's incredibly. I don't think if you just put it in something, if anyone would know the difference. Like
No, exactly. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
more like plant-based focused. So like vegan
Hmm.
cheeses are hard. There's the Miyokos, which whenever I'm on tour, I try to snag some Miyoko
Hmm.
and get it home. If we're driving back home, flying in with it's not as great. But I did try that horrible mozzarella. It was good. It was
Hmm.
better than other shredded cheese options. And their mozzarella, I believe. I have to try more because I've seen like some documentary where there was like way more variants and options of this Miyoko cheese, and I'm gonna have to try to get it home somehow.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I really like even just the old school Miyoko just rounds,
Yeah,
the like sort of the
yeah, that's the one that I found, and
original ones.
it was great. Honestly, that
And
that
yeah.
brought back a lot of great feelings of eating wine and cheeses with my wife because we used to do that
Hmm.
a lot of great cheese places up here in Montreal near the market, Jean Talon Market. There's a great one that we used to go to all the time. So I miss those experiences, and I hate just that a lot of the vegan cheese is just shit. It's like shit, like ingredients, like oil
Hmm.
and just. And I like the cashew ones better. Something that has like real, a limited amount of ingredients in it. Um, Try to keep it more health based, especially when I
Gotcha.
feed my kids stuff there, and not just the palm oil and coconut oil or
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I grew up on a standard American diet of Pop Tarts and toaster strudel and a Coke
Oh
for
yeah,
breakfast. I mean,
that's
and
see, I miss that too. My
and
parents sometimes are
and
like, you can have a toaster strudel for
and
breakfast. Sure, I'll eat a cake for breakfast, Mom. Thank you so much. It was
uh,
delicious.
yeah, I mean, I think we're approximately the same age. I'm 44, and
Close, yeah.
yeah, yeah. If they put that it had 100% of your vitamin C on the box, it didn't
It
matter
worked.
what else was in it.
I went to go try to buy margarine because I had to make a cake, an accidental vegan cake, as the internet called it. My
Yes.
father-in-law, it was his birthday, and he grew up, and his mom always made him a tomato soup cake. And I Googled this looking for
Mm,
a vegan tomato soup cake. It's basically like a spice cake, a carrot cake,
mm,
is sort of the vibe
okay.
because there's
Okay.
like clove and cinnamon in it. And it's like, get margarine. And I go to the grocery store and it's like made with plant based oils, blah, blah, blah. It's like listed on all these things, but you pick it up and it's still not vegan. They still have like,
Hmm.
which is like,
Uh, yeah.
baffles my mind. The branding, the way that they're branding plant based and still not actually making it fully plant based is, you got to read what everyone knows. You got to read when you're a vegan, you got to read. You got to make
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, and try explaining to, especially to someone who English is not their first language, that
Correct.
non-dairy creamer has dairy in it.
Exactly.
That
Yes. 100%.
they
Yes.
will
Yeah.
look at you like wow.
Some like
But
my parents took it the worst. Probably had the strongest reaction when I became vegan because we had so many traditions that they thought that they couldn't pass on to me, like Christmas dinners. So my mom went out and bought tofu spread and then was not bothered. She was like shocked that tofu spread had eggs in it. And I was like, we can't do this. It's like,
what
I
is tofu
appreciate
spread?
it's like a hummus. They sell it in the hummus section, and
Mm.
it's like a hummus but made with tofu, but there's eggs in it. So
Hmm.
it's hard for
Okay. It's
outside people to
we don't have
understand.
that in the States, I don't think.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to accommodate, and then they're still like getting frustrated because I'm like, no, we can't actually do that, but we appreciate it though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, it's the family aspect could be a frustrating thing. And
We're good now. It took a few years. Yeah.
so what is the creative process like for writing a Cryptopsy song? How do things typically start?
Perfect. Yeah, it starts with pain and alcohol. Um, we wrote the majority of the last record on tour, which is something that we've never done before. We always would get together and consume lots of alcohol and enter that Applebee's state. And Chris needs it to lower, or he needed it. I don't think he does anymore, to lower his hater inhibition, where he writes something, he's like, no, that sucks. If he's not to letting go of that feeling.
Interesting.
It's less like that now. So writing on tour was hard because when you're touring, you're thinking about the set, you're in one mindset, there's like guests and things to take care of, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, now we're writing songs. It's like changing
Where
gears.
logistically would you do that?
We would do it after shows in our bus, in our bandwagon on that run with Death to All. That was hard. We ended up getting into fights. Honestly, it was not very fun. So we tried, and we did write a bunch of stuff on that run, but the majority of the record was written on the Carnifex tour, where we had a bunch of days off and we would get hotel rooms. So while Carnifex and the other bands were resting, Cryptopsy was in their hotel room writing an Insatiable Violence. And
wow,
Chris he's a genius, I can say it. I've worked with him for many years, and he's like one of those savants when it comes to music. Riffs come to him in the strangest ways. Like his father passed away right before that Death to All tour, or actually passed away while we were on that tour. And he was visiting him in the hospital before he left. And there was this life support or life machine in the hospital that had like a strange pattern. And he wrote a riff based upon that. Or we're like somewhere and there's an air conditioner making a weird sound, and he writes a riff from that. He was emptying the dishwasher and he clanged together 2 different sized wine glasses, and a riff came from that. So he has his phone, or he'll be sleeping and he'll wake up and hum a riff into his voice memo.
Interesting.
So
he's always on it then.
He was very stressed, and he's a very stressed individual, but he's very stressed about the next record, continuing the momentum that we've rebuilt. He's always very stressed. It's funny.
I guess a certain amount. I guess a certain amount of that heightenedness, I mean, made an incredible album.
His phone is always full of ideas and riffs. So we'll sit down when it's a writing session, and he'll like be like, "Oh yeah, that riff," and then he'll figure it out on the guitar, and then Flo will give his 2 cents, and it's like piecing pieces together. And we did that for 5 days off on the Carnifex tour, and we got like a majority of the record put together on that, but it was so condensed and so all at once that when he went home after the tour and started working with Flo on piecing little pieces together, because there's always like transitionary traps that we call them in Cryptopsy. These mind, you think we're going to go one way and we go another way. That comes from the relationship dialogue of Chris and Flo and Ollie. Flo's really good at the traps, being the drummer. Chris realized that he was like, oh my God, that riff is the same riff as that riff in that song. And that riff is really close to that riff, because when you write so condensedly, everything just mixes up in his mind, or in our minds. And we didn't realize either. So we had to like rewrite and recreate stuff leading up into the studio time. And it just evolves like that until there's like a skeleton of just guitar and click. And there's like drum. In Cryptopsy at this point, Flo and Chris have this like, this is going to be a 2-pack beat. This is going to be a grind. This is going to be a blast. And then Flo enters the studio and comes up with these creative, happy accidents that he has to relearn afterwards. And it's just this relationship with Chris, where Chris pushes us, you can do more, and Flo pushes himself, obviously. And he tracked that over 8 days and 1 track a day, I think, and he got through that. Vocally, I showed up and I lived at his house, and vocally I write all the lyrics. I send him whisper tracks of my ideas, and then we sit together in the studio because I live at his house for like a week when I track.
Hmm.
And he listens to my ideas and he's like, this is really bad. And then and then he takes what I've done and makes it way better. And I'm a vocal puppet that like has to relearn everything once I'm finished because we go section by section, line by line at moments, just to get this really organic musical patterns that really flow well with the music. And we've been doing this for the past 2 records where I show up with ideas and he's like, these are horrible. How about we do something that fits? Because I don't understand the music the way that he does. He's so innate and involved with it. And I am not educated in music. I'm a death metal vocalist that sings. My ideas are more square, and he makes everything far more musical. And we have a lot of fun. And things are always like changing, evolving. And there was this one song, I think it's the Art of Emptiness, that he was like, I don't know about the song. I don't like it. And there was like there's like this whole middle section that he's like, this, I don't know what to do here. Like, what are we gonna do here vocally? I just don't get it. And
Hmm.
he's like, I don't this song. And I was like, why don't we just cut it out? And he's like, can we do that? I was like, we can do anything we want. It's like we can let's try. And then he just cut the whole section out, and that's what the song remains to be this day. So even after the drums are tracked and everything, we can still go back and tweak things and work on things because it's ours and we gotta love it before we, share it with the world. So it was an intense recording session, an intense writing session. Everything happened within 6 weeks, and the mix happened very shortly thereafter. So we had no choice. We had put this insane deadline on ourselves that we needed to hit, and then we made it happen.
Wow. Yeah. And that is an amazing thing though, in that where you're saying where you brought the ideas to him and you had some back and forth. And in that sense, you can create something that in the best case is better than both of you had imagined.
But yeah, he
I
always says that. Like like, as much as he creates everything, he always says, "I can't do it without you.
hmm
I need
hmm
you to bring me something that I can destroy to rebuild." And any of his ideas that he comes up with, he can't vocally do if he was the singer. So he needs that as well from me.
is the truth. Yeah. I mean, if one person does it, in one sense, it can only be as good as that person imagined,
Mm-hmm.
which could be great. But yeah, but if yeah, in the best case, if it's better than you both had thought, then that's true synergy in a
It's
band.
really
And
fun. It's like a
y'all really
really
achieved that.
interesting experience to go and live at his house and like eat, breathe a vocal session versus what we used to do in the past where I would go to work and go track a song after work and then go home and come back a week later where it's just fragmented. And it's not because it wasn't important. It's
Hmm.
just what we did at that time. Now it's
Hmm.
we go there, we live. I bring my kids. We're there for a week, and we track all day, and then we sit at night and we drink beer and we listen to what we did, and we're like, "That sucks. We're fixing that tomorrow." So when I leave his house, I'm like, "This is exactly what I want it to be." Whereas in other records, I'd be like, "I wish I could have redone that," and I never did.
Sure. Well, and speaking of work, is Cryptopsy everyone in the band's main gig or only gig, or does
No,
everyone
no,
have
we still
various?
work. We still work. Ollie works at a really cool craft beer place called Vice Versa
Hmm.
here in Montreal. It's one of the best tap houses in Montreal, in Quebec, maybe, arguably. A very, very good beer place. Chris is a producer. That's his main gig. And I am
Hmm.
an early childhood educator.
Hmm.
Take care of young children. I finished school, early childhood education, and joined Cryptopsy in the same year. So that all happened at the same time. And then I got the gig when I was 24 years old, and I was already working in early childhood centers at that point. So I've been working with kids for many, many years. Young children from the age of 6 months to 5. My
Mm.
preferred age group is 3, 4 year olds. They're still creative. They're still young. They're still questioning about everything, and they're not, just about to go to school, so they don't have that slightly older attitude, which can be a bit more confrontational, which makes, and plus like when you work with the older kids, there's more of them. So,
I used to be a 6th grade science teacher. So,
really?
yeah. So
Yeah,
I feel you on that. Yeah.
yeah,
We had large classroom sizes too. And
yeah.
it's
No,
kind
we're
of a
really
worst
lucky,
case
and I work
scenario.
and I work at a great center, and I've worked at the same center this whole time, which is how I'm allowed to do the band thing, the touring, because they respect and understand the artist side of things, and they like the traveling side of things. So I'm very lucky and grateful to have been working there for that long.
Yeah, and to find for especially for everyone to have something that gives them the flexibility to
It's a miracle
do
that
the
I found it.
band
Yeah, yeah.
and also supplement the income because I mean living's expensive
Tour is
and
expensive, insane.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also lucky to have like a very strong support system outside of the band, or like my family. I have young children, so when I do go on tour, I'm very lucky that my parents and my wife's parents come in and take care of the kids and pick up the slack. I was literally doing my grocery list because I cook like mass amounts of food before. That's how I cope with leaving them. I'm like, here's 20 meals. That should get you through at least half the tour. I feel a little better about that.
Yeah. And
My kids
so
hate pasta. They just don't want to eat pasta anymore when I get home.
really,
No, it's because I
yeah.
make like a pasta sauce. And like they go to my mom's house, and my mom's got the pasta. We're eating pasta tonight, and they're like, oh. And then they go to my wife's. God, we're gonna eat pasta tonight. And then I come home, and I'm like, you know what I want to eat? I really miss my pasta sauce.
And so what advice would you give to up and coming either death metal or other extreme metal acts in
Sure,
terms of
yeah.
the business side of things?
You
What
got to
have you
get out there.
learned?
You got to get out there. You got to, well, first and foremost is you have to practice. It's a very important thing. You have to get in the jam room minimum 3 nights a week, 3 days a week, and you got to practice, and you got to do that for at least 3 to 5 years. I would say that.
Hmm.
That's what we all did. That's what Cryptopsy did. That's what my old bands did. Now that we're at the level we're at, we don't practice as much as we used to, but when you lead into a tour, we do. So you got to
Hmm.
practice the most as possible, because there's multiple things that come out of practicing. Obviously, you get better. You become more cohesive as a unit. You get to know your bandmates. It's fun being in a band, but it's also a relationship. So early spats. I always said this about my wife, and it's the same thing for a band. It's you have the most amount of fights with a partner within the first year or two, and then after that you've like set the groundwork as to how this relationship is going to continue over the next x amount of years. So if you're practicing that often, you will have those fights, and if you can maturely manage your way through that, then you can step to the next level of relationship, and that works for a band too.
Hmm.
Next step is to get out, and I'm speaking about what happened to me back in the day here in Montreal.
Hmm.
Get out and become friends with other bands at your level,
Hmm.
and go see larger bands with those younger bands together to experience this camaraderie where you're like, this is feasible. I was so lucky to come from Montreal to have, I was just his birthday. Happy birthday to Steph. Stéphane Melil ran
Hmm.
BCI concerts. He now runs Continental Touring, which is a huge booking agency in the United States. He was from Montreal, is from Montreal, but is no longer here. He, back in the day, he ran this a concert promoter, and he brought every metal band you can imagine from Steph brought through Montreal, and they played shows at the Medley. So us and other bands that I grew up with would go and watch all these bands play the Medley. And when you see someone, your idol, especially back in the day, because there's no social media, it was like you just had this idea of who this person was.
Hmm.
You can be like, this is feasible. I can see him. This is something that I might be able to do myself that day. And when you do that with other people that are at the same level as you, it really creates this strong bond of a scene. You're building a scene.
Hmm.
So try to
Hmm.
build a scene, go to your friends' shows. If you want people to come to your shows, you got to go to their shows. It's a marketing thing. It's
Hmm.
a PR thing. You got to do things to make the scene grow. Once that starts growing, you can try to jump onto those bigger shows, become friends with the promoters in your local towns, Do not punish them. You can try to help them, maybe. Back in the day, it was passing around flyers. Nowadays, maybe you can do something on social media to help promote the show without necessarily asking for anything back. But then there will come that time when this perfect band comes through and they're missing an opening band, and they'll think about you and you'll get that opportunity. Playing local shows is great. Playing a lot of shows is great. Every show is worth 5-6 band practices. You're learning so many things in a show that you cannot learn in a jam room. And then the next step is to expand your scene by becoming friends with bands at your level once again, or maybe a little bit bigger, in cities close by so that you can swap shows. But when you do swap shows, make sure that your hometown show that you're swapping with is a banger, because you don't want someone to drive X amount of hours to show up to play in your city, in your scene, and then your show sucks.
Sure.
Because then when they won't want to return the favor in the first place, and they should do the same on their side. So there's that like delicate fine line of balance of how often you should play your hometown, and that's a hard question. So it depends on how popular you are, how strong your scene is. Back in the day, we would do maybe once every 2 months, and that seemed to work. There's only a certain amount of age that you can be at, like before your friends won't come to your shows anymore. Like when you're 20, your non-metal age. Yeah, I'm at that age. When you're like, none of my friends come to see Cryptopsy anymore. But when you're 20, your 20-year-old friends will be like, sure, I'll go see this metal show, even though if they don't like it, just to support you. So those are just a few things.
And so what would you say are maybe the pros and cons of having a label? And should bands seek labels?
Okay, I can speak. We were independent for 10 years. We dropped our self-titled in 2012 independently. It was a massive success. It really went very well. The Facebook algorithm hadn't become monetized as much at that point. So we literally just dropped the Bandcamp link on our Facebook page, and all 300,000 plus Cryptopsy fans saw it. So that really worked really well. As things became more monetized for the algorithm and you had to do paid ads and stuff, it became far more difficult to connect with our fans. When we dropped our 2 EPs after that independently, it was rough. Not as many people got to see it, got to hear it. If you want to be independent, then you need to be extremely resourceful. You have to have a very strong band core unit where everyone is wearing a particular hat, or you need to hire, by hat I mean a job, or you need to hire and financially have the funds to cover hiring the right people to do these jobs, such as marketing, shipping stuff out. I don't know if anyone has a small business. It's the worst. It's not my, I can't.
Sure.
I don't like that job. It's not a job for me. Some people might like it. Going to the post office with bags of stuff, just not for me. Being on a label, on the other hand, is you're sort of a part of a cool kids club because you're on a roster with other really cool people. They are more connected. They can get you into things. They can help you sort out certain problems. They can sign on to help you get visas in our situation to go to the States. We're really happy being on Season of Mist. It's been a fantastic experience. The whole team there is incredible. From Michael and Gordon, the PR team, Will and Sebastian, Anna, the social media team. It's just one of those amazing things where you feel very taken care of. So I am very happy at this stage of my career to be on a label, to have someone take care of us, to help push the band to a higher level, because as much as I'm hands-on and I can handle stuff and I can wear a lot of hats, it wasn't working out for Cryptopsy in a favorable manner to be independent in this day and age, sadly.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. That's a really good perspective from someone that's been on both sides of the coin. And I think that's a rare...
We dropped 2 EPs before As Get More Burns to the self-titled, and I would go out on tour and people were like, you guys have done nothing in 12 years. It's like, I just dropped it. They go, oh, we didn't know, we didn't see it. So the marketing and the power and the connectivity of a label is beneficial for us, in my experience.
How would you say that the music industry has changed just over the years since either you've been in Cryptopsy or previous bands in general?
I think I came in just a little bit after the huge impact that streaming has had on the industry. So what I can see happening for myself is that bands need to release music far more quickly
Mm.
because music consumers no longer cherish, and I'm a part. I feel this. I'm like this too. We don't cherish albums the way that we used to.
Hmm.
We don't take an album and have time to let it digest. It's a first time listen, I love it, or it's a I'm going to listen to the other 1,000 options that are available before me that I might love. Back in the day, we would go down to the record store and buy a record with our hard-earned, we were young. $20 was a lot of money back then.
Mm-hmm.
Buy that CD, you go home, you put it on, and you're like, I don't like it. And it was the worst feeling. But we would always listen to it again. We would
Record
always
stores
give it
in
another-
Canada, you didn't have the thing where you could go up to the front of the store and put it
yeah,
in.
we did, but still, sometimes you're too impulsive, you know?
The artwork was just too good.
Yes, exactly, something like that. And you just don't like it. But you give it another chance, and eventually you start to understand and appreciate it. And maybe it was just a little bit too outside of your comfort zone of what you were listening to at that exact moment. And you just needed a few more listens to comprehend what was going on. So I think that's a major difference. And that means that bands have to put out music quicker, which is more stress for the creative process. There's a lot more financial reliance of trying to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
As a musician is now more so on touring versus record advances and record sales. So in order to try to make a living out of this, we go on tour far more often, trying to connect with fans. We're very lucky that our fan base still believes in buying physical products and merchandise. It's always a huge help for us when we're touring. When a fan picks up a shirt, it makes a big difference. So that's the huge difference is bands have to release music far more quickly. They have to tour more. The cost of touring is very high. So it's not an easy passion to make a living, but we're very lucky that we get to do it. And that's the huge main difference is that music is not digested anymore. It's consumed and spat out.
Fair enough. I feel like I could talk to you forever, but I think that's a great spot to wrap things up. And it's been an absolute honor talking to you. And thank you for sharing everything. Tell us about the new the tour real quick.
Yes, we are leaving on tour. It kicks off on September 12th, I think is the right thing, in North Carolina, Raleigh at Chapel of Bones, and we are heading out on tour. I'm heading out on tour in the United States. Cryptopsy is coming back to the United States with Nile. They have not toured with Nile in many, many years. I was not in the band, so that means that it's been a very long time that Cryptopsy has not toured with Nile, and we're excited for that. So it's Nile, Cryptopsy, The Last 10 Seconds of Life, and Cognitive. The tour kicks off September 12th. It goes all the way until October 11th, I want to say, all across the United States. Really excited to get back to the United States. We crafted a really sick set list, which is packed with some none so vile goodness, some old stuff, some legacy stuff, and then a lot of new material. But the set is extremely groovy, so I'm excited to showcase this new record in front of the U.S. fans for the first time because we have not done that. Very excited for this tour. It's going to be killer grabs, but it's a very brutal tour. It's a drummer tour. If you're like a fan of drumming, you got to come to this tour. You got George from Nile, you got Flo. It's basically a drumming clinic every night, and it's going to be hot and intense. And I'm excited for it to kick off. Honestly, I got to cook a bunch of meals and freeze them for my family, but then I'm going to go swing my head around and scream like an animal and drink a few beers. After that, we're going to Asia, Australia, and New Zealand right before Christmas.
Wow. So partial world tour. That's
and then we're going to Europe in January.
That sounds awesome. I hope to catch you all on the road.
Thank you
Thank you again very much for your time.
Absolutely. And I honestly have been, I've been following you for a long time. So I was stoked that we made this happen.
Oh, hell yeah. Appreciate it.